So, I don't know. I just thought they're so interesting. The shapes, because you can create a lot of drama with just sticks. And you can also create the base for where your flowers are going. So you don't actually have to use as much greenery as with other arrangements, which is kind of fun as well. So, and again, you could use this technique with, you know, something you want to do for Halloween or some kind of, or you could like hang arrangements like balls from it for Christmas. It's kind of endless what you can do. And it's funny because I've had people ask me like, oh, well, do you always stick to doing flowers and using flowers in numbers? You know, like everyone's like, oh, do you always do an equal number of things or odd numbers of things? And it's funny because, like I was saying earlier, I mean, the rules have changed. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want to do with this one. I mean, I've used just one for a giant focal flower. You know, actually today I did arrangements that were all just twos of things. That was kind of fun. It's all in the placement of where you want them to be. What do you want people to look at? So. So again, yeah, we're just going to use this stick. And again, I love getting things from my own backyard. Because it makes me feel more connected to where I live. And so with this, I thought we could do, oh, there we go. So these are pretty common greens that you can find. This is a leather leaf, and this is a salal. Again, I just have those for extras just in case I want those. But we can do, again, this is from a bush outside my windows. I'm not even sure what it's called, but I just love the variegation in the leaves. And again, you have that base of the stick, and that's kind of fun. So you can kind of weave things in and out of that. So. And it all depends on like what you want to use, like what kind of feel you're going for. Do you want something more gardeny and airy? I'm just going to use these at the bottom. So it's always nice to be able to kind of cover the edge of the vase, kind of give it a little bit of color. Not always necessary with certain arrangements like this, but just a little bit is kind of. And it's just really fun to have different types of greenery, just giving it interest. I love that. Super fun. Because I also like a lot of texture, because it just really lets the eye just kind of swim throughout the whole piece, you know? And what's nice about doing tall, kind of dramatic pieces is that they don't take as much time as some of the fiddly, smaller ones. Sometimes I think, oh, I'm gonna have a grand party and have a huge arrangement in the middle. I always wanted to have like a grand entrance in my home. Have just a huge vase of gladiolas. I just love gladiolas. One of those flowers that are just kind of, they're a little old-fashioned, and a lot of people just think of them, you know, for funerals, sadly. But I think they're absolutely stunning, especially just by themselves. So we're getting our base together. That's good. Okay. Got a little friend here. You can't see him, but there's a little spider in here. So he's just hanging out. Came in from outside. So what's that? So the other thing is, it's like, it's always good when you're designing, it's to keep turning it around to see from all sides as to what's happening, and do you want a little more greenery on this side or on this side. I kind of like the way it's looking, and so from here I thought what we would do is we could start with some roses. These are just some peach roses, and again, you can keep it as simple or make it as complicated as you like. Some people like just one type of flower, and that's really fun, and modern and dramatic. This one's kind of wonky. So, as you can see, it's kind of shaping up and taking on a life of its own. And it kind of speaks to you as it goes and tells you where they want to be. I just think this is more interesting. Like if I wanted to do like a dozen roses like this, I just think it's so much more interesting to have something like this. I would love something like this. If someone gave this to me, I would be like, yes, that's amazing. So from here, I was going to add a little bit more texture. These are hypericum berries. One of my favorites. If you watch my other two classes, I kind of use these in almost everything I do, and that's really fun. Kind of gives this fun element with the smooth texture of the berries against, like, almost, I wouldn't say the sticks are harsh, but you know, it's just very a different texture, which is fun. So, does anyone have like a favorite flower? Or do like garden? I'm not a really good gardener. I do try. Basically, I have just container gardens on my porch. I get so busy in the summer. I'm sure you guys get busy too. And I wish I had more time to dedicate to a garden. Someday.
Do you grow perennials or annuals?
Actually, I'm trying both. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, they will winter over. I have some like rosemary and lavender. I did a whole herb garden, well, in containers. But a lot of it is kind of, we have so many mosquitoes. So I was trying to plant things that mosquitoes don't like. There's a citronella geranium, which is really beautiful. I have marigolds. Those remind me of my mom, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, honestly don't know what half the flowering plants are on my deck. I went by color. They were so pretty.
Yeah.
But pansies are my favorite, and they're looking kind of sad right now because it's so hot. So.
Yeah.
So I think this is really fun. And again, it's very easy. And you can just, I always, like I said, I encourage using things around your own home. I think it makes it really special. So this is just one look.
Would you mind just pushing the vase to the top of the table, just so it can be as close to the camera as possible? Because there's so much detail.
Let me know, does that look good?
Yeah.
Okay, because I can move my table up. The whole thing's moving. So yeah, thank you for letting me know, because it's hard for me to tell.
Yeah.
What you can see.
Well, it's good to see it from far back, but then it's also cool to see it up close.
Absolutely.
So when you were putting it together, were you thinking, the Hybericum and the roses are both kind of in the same color family, sort of? So were you thinking about that? Were you thinking about color design on top of all the other stuff you have to think about?
Absolutely. I mean, these peach Hypericum, I mean, come on, it's so pretty. As you'll know about me, I'm doing monochromatic. It's one of my favorite kind of color combinations, is just using different types of greens and whites and adding a color. But today we're gonna try and mix it up a little. So we'll see how it goes. But I think this is just really fun. It's not in the water. Get in the water. Okay. So one of the other things I was thinking about today was, I mean, not everyone has giant cylinders, but I'd like to do things that people already have at home, if I can. So, but this is a very big cylinder. This is about 16 inches by 6 across. So this can be kind of intimidating when you're doing a design and you're not feeling very comfortable. And so one of the tricks that I love to do, and you'll see a lot of florists actually do it, is I'm going to tape a grid to the top of it. And it actually aids to the arrangement, because then you don't have to use as much greenery. I mean, you can use a grid with all of the greenery. That's totally fine. But sometimes you just want a little bit more modern take to it. So I'm just gonna tape a little.
And is that a special florist tape?
Yeah, actually, this is a florist tape. It's very thin, but I mean, you can get it at Michael's, but you can also just use Scotch tape. That's what you have, whatever works for you. So again, I'm just creating a grid right on top. And you'll see why in a second. Again, this is going to be saving on the type of greens that you have to put in here. And then I just kind of wrap it around the top. It's a little secret. Now you know. So with this one, I thought that we could bring out something very fun and very dramatic, and something I don't get to use very often, but I got specifically for this class. Da, da, da. So these are called agapanthus, and when right now they're not quite open, but when they do open, they're quite fantastic. It kind of reminds me of like fireworks. It's kind of like huge, fun. I just love them. So I thought it would be really great to use those today. I also cut some crazy grass out of my yard today. Again, I don't know, the people who lived in the house before we bought it planted all this stuff, and I get to reap the benefits, which is really fun. So I thought maybe I would use some of this in this particular arrangement. So again, with the grid, it's like it's already standing up by itself, which is really great. I mean, already it feels very dramatic and fun. And it really does stay exactly where you want it to, which is nice. I mean, come on, look at this stuff. So this is for a huge centerpiece. So fun.
I love that the grass is variegated. It looks like a giant spider plant.
Isn't it beautiful? I love variegation. It just makes me, it does look like a spider. But yesterday when I was foraging for the class, I was like, I need to incorporate these. I was thinking as well is that one of my other favorite things is tropicals. And I don't get to use that very often here just because New England isn't, it's not as popular, I guess, as it is in other parts of the country. So I would like to incorporate that somehow. I would like to maybe show people how really interesting and cool they are.
Agapanthus is kind of tropical, isn't it?
It is kind of tropical, but people grow this in their garden. It kind of reminds me of the allium giganteum. It's like the big puffballs. And I'll use some of that later, but these are baby allium, which are in the chive family. So those are kind of fun. We'll use those in a little bit.
I love allium. They are like Dr. Seuss flowers.
Yes. Oh my gosh, doesn't get much better than that. So I thought maybe I just put a little bit of the Floral at the bottom, but honestly, I'm not really loving it. So that's the beauty of doing your own flowers. You can take it off. Because honestly, I don't feel like it's necessary. You know what I mean? So, and again, we're going for the height and the drama of the agapanthus. And again, like I said, they remind me of like just a celebration, whether it's like 4th of July, Boston Pops. Just so fun. I don't know, like Like, what does this remind you of? This reminds you of if you've ever traveled. It's actually reminding me a little bit of Egypt. When I went to go visit Marianne, kind of reminds me of papyrus or going down the Nile or something.
That's cool.
So, and it's funny because when we were there, it was around Valentine's Day, and I would not have thought in a million years that, you know, it would be a popular holiday in Egypt.
Right.
I didn't know they even celebrated it. You know, so it was really interesting to see the arrangements and things that they did for the holiday. You know, as a floral designer, being in other countries, that's really exciting. I remember being in France, and I mean, I just love the simplicity of the way that they design.
Would you say that you could tell regional differences around the country, the way different regions do floral design?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, in the Pacific Northwest, where I studied, it's a lot of high style contemporary, a lot of tropicals. Here it's a little more conservative, kind of roundy moundy, very compact. Again, styles that I love and do very well. But I miss the freedom of doing things that are a little avant-garde, I guess. So I thought I would use this class to, you know, get to. Yeah.
You can fly your avant-garde flag.
So I was thinking of, like, next time we could do some tropicals. That'd be so fun. And you would be amazed at how many tropicals I've seen at, like, Trader Joe's. I mean, obviously it's like the best place to get orchids, but like proteas and all sorts of fun things there. I mean, this is just kind of fun and funky, you know. But super simple, you know. And again, it's with the grid pattern, it almost feels like I'm cheating. Not gonna lie. But it's just, again, super fun, very dramatic. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you can hear that, but my cat's outside the room. She's like, oh, let me in. So I have to let her in. I might have to. So yeah, so again, like, just to keep it simple, you know, sometimes simple is really very elegant, you know. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you like this? Would you put this in your house? Could you see it at a party?
I could definitely see it at a party.
It's so fun. But like I said, I just got these today, so they're not open. But when they do open, they're just like this little explosion. So fun. Like you said, it's very Dr. Seussy. And if you wanted to get even more crazy, I mean, you could put more sticks, curly willow. You know, it's pretty endless what you can do. And the other fun thing with vases like this, you can put like rocks in the bottom, just make it like even more interesting, more textures. That's always fun. So, I mean, I kind of feel like, yeah.
So you keep everything very high? You don't make it go down, like some high, some low? You prefer them to be high because of the greenery?
This particular arrangement, yeah, I love it high. I think it's so.
Okay. No, I do too. I just wanted to know if you could vary it.
Absolutely. I don't see why you couldn't. I was gonna do like a little bit more traditional for my next one, and that would definitely have more like dimension when it comes to the different heights. So, but no, ooh. That's a little tall. But yeah, I mean, you could absolutely. I just thought it was like, I just think this one was really fun being so
Yeah,
tall.
it does look beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, ta-da, like done. It's just really fun. I mean, that's what I love about floral design. It's like you kind of can do whatever you want. And it's funny because like, you know, as long as you know, they always say that, you know the rules and you can break them. And that's pretty true, I would say. But at the same time, you can kind of just make your own rules and do what you love. If it makes you happy, fantastic. But yeah, I could definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, I'll do a couple shorter.
I have a quick question.
Sure, what's up?
Do you follow the rule of the vase height and the arrangement height being 1/3 and 2/3?
Sometimes, not always. I mean that is one of like your first basic rule. So this is a very tall vase, as you know, so that would be 1.5. So it's kind of not quite there, to be honest with you. But I don't, yeah, like I said, I don't follow that one as closely as you're supposed to. I guess I just kind of go for the feeling of it. You know. All right, I am gonna let my cat in. She's just being. I don't know if you can hear her. Hi, come on in. Come on. Okay.
Jess, you said the vase is 16 inches tall?
Mhm.
Yeah, someone was just asking.
Yeah, this is a very tall vase. The first vase I did, it was probably only 9 inches. So, but I just wanted to show like different sizes of vases. So, I don't know, just something fun. So I thought this one's also very tall. So this vase is tall, but it's actually very narrow. And so with this kind, I was going to do these oriental lilies. And so again, you can do, you don't always have to put the greens in first. And again, I just want to see what they do. You know, because you don't want to overcrowd the vase. You also want to figure out like, where do they want to go? You know, and give them some room to tell you where they want to go. And this one, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got the pollen inside of it. Some people like to leave it. I personally don't. Some people like the look of the pollen in the middle. I just find it gets everywhere. And I don't want it staining the flower, nor me, or my clothes, or my home. So one time I got it in my eyes, and that was a bad day. My eyes just they just blew up. It was not a good look. So I just kind of wanted to see and play with what we're doing. And again, we're going to keep it pretty high. Oh, aren't these amazing? They're at the perfect like openness to arrangement. So the other trick when it comes to lilies, if there is any pollen, just if you have a pipe cleaner, you can just gently brush it off a pipe cleaner, and that's actually something we do every day. Because again, we don't want to see it. But if you try to rub it off with your hand, it's just going to smear it onto the actual petal. You don't want to damage the petals. And so just gently brushing it off with a pipe cleaner. If you get pollen on your clothing, same thing, do not touch it. The best thing to do is actually get some Scotch tape and put it straight on the clothing and then rip it off. So I highly recommend that if you need to. Sorry, I don't know if any of you have cats, but that one's very demanding. So, I know, she had me wrapped around her little paw. So I mean, look how beautiful they are just by themselves. Like, I literally just cut them a little bit and just arrange them so that all their faces are up front. And that just looks lovely just by itself. Of course, we're gonna jazz it up a little bit. So I thought today we would use some okay, so this is delphinium. Again, a lot of people like to grow these in their garden. I see them all over the Cape. And so I'm just going to go ahead and keep them. I like to keep it as tall as I possibly can. So, and again, the nice thing about this vase being so narrow is that you don't need a lot of greenery. You know, you kind of almost want to do a bit of the minimal. And it's all about the placement. So right now there's 5 lilies, there's 3 delphinium, and again, I could have just done 2, but I kind of like the look of 3. So it's all in how you want to express yourself. What are the flowers telling you? What do they want to do? So from here, I don't know if any of you have seen these guys before. So this is a dianthus. It's actually a cousin to the carnation. And I love these because, again, we're like with the whole Dr. Seuss kind of thing. Just so fun. And I just love that like pop of green. I think that chartreuse color is just so fun. But we just call it trick dianthus. And I think I'm gonna hold off for a second. And then at this point, I'm going to start adding a little bit of greenery. Oh, snap. It gets a little tricky when you do it this way, but it's kind of fun. And again, these are just straight from my garden that I stole. So, and what I'm doing is I'm going to cut this one down kind of small, like short, and because it's still pretty fresh, I'm just going to bend it a little bit so it kind of hugs the bottom. And the other thing about this, the narrowness of this vase, sometimes it can be kind of difficult to use because when you start to put things in at an angle, you only have like the 4 inches. So you have to really think about the placement of how you want to put things. A lot of times, it's shorter than you think it's going to be, or that it needs to be. And again, I just love that variegation piece. So, yeah. I'm gonna wait for that guy. I want him to be, that's one thing is like, I want this to be high. And so I think I'm gonna have to really create a little bit more of a grid in the bottom so that this can sit nice and high, but it's not quite there yet. We're getting there. Does anybody have a favorite flower?
I like them all.
I get it. Is there any flower that people don't like? A lot of people don't like lilies just because they are very strong scented.
Yeah, I find I'm often allergic to them.
Oh yeah? I've had a lot of clients also tell me that they need to have their arrangements pet friendly. And so I had to do a lot of research online because apparently their dogs or cats eat their flower arrangements, or it's been known to happen, and they knock them over and then start chomping on them. So just so you know, sunflowers, roses, orchids, those are all like pet friendly.
Oh, good to know.
And as greenery goes, the salal is also pet friendly. so that's really funny. But as you can see, it's still, there's something missing, I think. I feel like it needs something. So, but again, I went for my poor hosta plant. It's probably like, why do you hate me? Like, I'm always stealing from it. I just think just like a little bit of a chubby leaf might be fun.
Did you say that's hosta?
Yeah, straight from my yard.
Yay.
I mean, who doesn't love a good hosta?
You have to condition any of the flowers when you cut them from your yard?
None of these particularly, but when I first get any of the flowers at the shop, you know, it's really important to make sure that, you know, you take off as much of the foliage as possible, and you know, put them in a room temperature to a lukewarm water. You never want to shock your flowers, either hot or cold. Like, unless you want to make something open immediately. So no one really wants that unless you have like a party that night. so, so yeah, usually, you know, and then especially with roses, when I cut them, I condition them by like leaving them in the water, all kind of wrapped up in a little cocoon for a couple of hours till they really harden. Because if you don't, then their necks are gonna really be soft, and actually they'll harden in a way that's not attractive. You know, you want them to be like, you know, you want them to be very high.
Where do you get your flowers from for the shop? Do you
We
drive
have a
to
whole,
the flower market or?
I don't. There's parts of me that wish I could. I mean, of course, with the pandemic, it's not really super safe. So we have a wholesaler at it's called Fall River Floral Supply, and so I get all of my flowers through them. But I will tell you, every once in a while, I do go to Trader Joe's. And if I need something. So I just think that's kind of fun. And again, these hosta leaves are so crazy. But I don't know, kind of fun. What do you guys think?
Beautiful.
Love it.
So it's so fun. I'm enjoying doing that one. I mean, you could just keep going. You know, I have I don't know if any of you guys have a still bee in your yards. A lot of people grow that here, and that's always just like another fun texture. Again, I could just keep going. I could play all day long. So again, I'm not sure like if did anyone catch my last class? Was anyone here for that?
Not I.
Anybody repeaters?
Was that the one on bouquets and nosegays?
Yeah. Mhm.
No, unfortunately, I wasn't around then. I saw your very first one.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah, in June. That's why I'm back tonight.
You're so sweet. I was so nervous. That was my first class ever. So I was like, oh. So thank you for coming back.
You would have never known it.
Oh, you're very kind.
No, you're a natural.
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
So,
Jess,
I mean,
as your resident timekeeper, I need to tell you it's 6:16.
okay, thank you. So, we can do one more. Is that okay?
Yeah, I could sit here and watch you do this all day.
Yeah.
You're so nice. You just come to work. But so yeah, I mean, how fun is this one?
Wow.
Super fun. I don't know if you can hear me grunting over here. Like, like the older I get, I'm like, oh. So I thought I might do something a little bit different. And this is just came from an old orchid I had. I killed by accident. Don't tell anybody. But so this is just a ceramic pot that it came in. I did get some floral oasis, and it's been soaking, and so that's ready to go. So I thought I could do something just like in a container, just to do something a little bit different. So I thought we could start with just some leather leaves. And again, we're just gonna just dress the bottom of it. I'm just laughing because I'm like, I used all the cool greens for all the other arrangements. So I just thought I'd do like a really quickie. And so when you're doing any kind of arrangement in Oasis, the fun thing is that I put in the foliage kind of like how your hair grows, you know, so you're kind of going in and around. And again, we're just creating a little collar. And again, with any kind of arrangement that you're doing, you don't want to see the mechanics. And what I mean by that is like, you don't want to see the oasis. You don't want to see the tape. You don't want to see like how you're gonna ruin the illusion like a magician. Like so. So yeah, you don't want to show how it's done. You want to make it look effortless.
Got it.
So we're just gonna start with that. Kind of, it's very floofy. But once you start filling it in with flowers, what we want to do. So I thought we could start with these. Look at these petite sunflowers. I mean, come on.
Oh, my favorite. Oh, I love sunflower.
Oh, I'm so glad I bought them. Again, I was like, I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do today.
Oh, that. Oh, I can see. So they're gonna be in the middle, top.
So, like you were saying earlier, I thought with these ones we could do all the different fun heights, just kind of like make it all different. So, and the nice thing about the oasis is kind of like having that grid pattern where you stick it stays. That's kind of fun. And you can kind of make it a little Dr. Seussy. Wait, I missed the oasis. This one's so tiny. Wah. I don't know, I've been loving the little ones. I mean, the big ones are obviously super dramatic, but.
The 16-inch vase that you did to, where would you position or place that? Like on a pedestal in a hallway or an entranceway, or I visualize it in a museum or something. It's so big and overpowering.
I would love to do arrangements for museums. That would be so amazing. But yeah, I think in an entrance hall, definitely. I mean, I wish I had the space in my house just for a grand gesture of flowers. It's always been kind of a dream of mine. But alas, I have this sweet little house. And I'm really happy. But I still dream that dream. So.
Find that you're tempted once you find a little design, something like you're doing now that just tickles you. Do you find you repeat it, or does the flowers just take you in a different direction each time?
They really do, because they have kind of a little personality of their own, to be honest with you. I mean, from flower to flower, you know, because some are straighter than others, some are more tilted. Like this guy is much more tilted than this guy. So, but I guess I'm just really lucky because I kind of just do whatever I want. So, and so can you. I know. I'm hoping that with when the pandemic is something of the past, I'd love to come over and do a flower class with you all there. You know, that would be so fun, and then we could all do some hands-on stuff. I don't know. This got a little cuckoo crazy, but I'm just going with it. So, there's our start. I also have, I showed you these earlier, and I love allium. The only problem, like I said, these are in the chive and onion family. And so the only issue I have with these is that you have to change the water every single day or it starts smelling like onions in your house. So, but don't let that deter you. They're so cute. So, they're just adorable. I love them.
I think it's cool just with the stems like that. It's very modern looking, I think.
Yeah, it's so fun.